Welcome to a detailed exploration of the Vice Presidents of India and the USA. Today, we're going to examine their roles, powers, and limitations in their respective countries.
This analysis is perfect for UPSC aspirants, comparative politics enthusiasts, and those who want to understand these two key positions in governance.
From the Indian Constitution to the US Constitution, we'll break down the crucial differences in their powers and duties.
So sit back and join us as we start with the Vice President of India and the constitutional provisions that define their role.
Let's get started by first understanding what makes these roles so significant within their respective nations.
Stay tuned till the end for an insightful comparison of powers and responsibilities, helping you prepare for exams like the UPSC.
The Vice President of India serves as the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, per Article 64 of the Indian Constitution. Their primary role is legislative, where they preside over the upper house of Parliament.
Unlike the US Vice President, their role in the executive branch is limited. They can only act as president under Article 65 when a vacancy arises.
In essence, their power lies in maintaining order in the Rajya Sabha, casting a vote only when there's a tie in the House.
Article 66 outlines the process for the Vice President's election, highlighting their selection by an electoral college made up of both houses of Parliament.
Despite this important role in the legislative branch, the Vice President has little influence outside of the Rajya Sabha. The executive power lies almost entirely with the President of India.
This contrasts sharply with the US Vice President, where the position plays an active role in both legislative and executive matters.
The Vice President of the United States serves as the President of the Senate, similar to their Indian counterpart. However, their powers are far more extensive as outlined in Article 1, Section 3 of the US Constitution.
Unlike the largely symbolic role of the Indian Vice President, the US Vice President is first in line to succeed the President, as established by the 25th Amendment.
The Vice President also serves a significant role in foreign policy, advising the President and often acting as a diplomatic representative abroad.
Moreover, the Vice President of the USA is often tasked with leading special policy initiatives, providing a bridge between the executive branch and Congress.
Despite their active involvement in policy, their legislative role in the Senate is similar to India's Vice President. They can only vote to break ties.
Let's take a look at some real-world examples, such as Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, who have influenced both domestic and foreign policy during their terms as Vice President.
Both Vice Presidents preside over the upper house in their respective countries, but the scope of their influence is markedly different.
In India, the Vice President's role is largely ceremonial outside of their function in the Rajya Sabha. In contrast, the US Vice President is directly involved in governance and policy making.
The Vice President of the USA has executive powers that the Indian Vice President does not possess, especially when it comes to foreign policy and executive decision-making.
Consider, for example, how the US Vice President often represents the nation on international visits or leads major policy initiatives, something Indian Vice Presidents are not called upon to do.
The Indian Vice President focuses almost entirely on legislative matters, whereas the US Vice President holds a dual role that spans both legislative and executive responsibilities.
This distinction becomes even clearer when we examine the limitations placed on both vice presidents in terms of governance.
Despite the prestige of the office, both Vice Presidents have significant limitations. The Indian Vice President's powers are almost entirely limited to the legislative arena.
In contrast, the US Vice President has more executive responsibilities, but still lacks independent decision-making power unless stepping in for the President.
The Indian Vice President cannot remove or appoint officials and has no power over executive decisions, something that stands in stark contrast to the US system.
Meanwhile, the US Vice President has more leeway, especially in foreign policy, but is still largely bound by the President's directives.
These limitations underscore the differences between India's parliamentary democracy and the USA's presidential system.
Understanding these limitations is crucial for UPSC aspirants and political science students alike, as they highlight the varying levels of influence each vice president can wield.
In conclusion, the roles of the Vice President in India and the USA vary dramatically, shaped by their unique constitutional frameworks.
The Vice President of India focuses primarily on parliamentary responsibilities, while the US Vice President plays an integral part in both the legislative and executive branches.
We hope this comparison helped clarify these important differences for UPSC aspirants and anyone interested in political science.
Be sure to like this video if you found it useful and share it with others who might benefit from this analysis.
And don't forget to subscribe for more videos on comparative politics and governance systems.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more insights into the world of governance and political institutions.
Pause 2S. Let's explore the vice presidency in India and the USA. The role has evolved significantly over time. In India, it started as ceremonial but became more active. Influential vice presidents like Dr. S. Radhakrishnan shaped the office. Pause 2S. In the USA, it began in 1789 with John Adams. The 20th century saw vice presidents taking on more substantial duties. Understanding this evolution provides a richer perspective on their current roles. Pause 2S. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more enlightening content. Pause 2S. Next, we will examine notable vice presidents from both India and the USA. We will highlight their contributions, challenges, and the impact they had during their tenure. This will offer a more personal perspective on the role and its significance in the political landscape of each country. Pause 2S. Let's begin with India. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, who served as the first vice president, is remembered not just for his academic brilliance but for his diplomatic finesse. His tenure set a high standard for the office, making it a symbol of intellectual and moral authority. Dr. Zakir Hussain, another influential vice president, was known for his dedication to education and social reform, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to inspire. Pause 2S. In the USA, vice presidents like Al Gore and Joe Biden have played pivotal roles. Al Gore's environmental advocacy brought global attention to climate change, while Joe Biden's experience and leadership have been critical in shaping domestic and foreign policy. Their contributions have elevated the vice presidency from a secondary role to a position of significant influence and responsibility. Pause 2S. These notable vice presidents have not only fulfilled their constitutional duties, but have also shaped the political and social landscape of their respective countries. Their legacies serve as a testament to the evolving importance of the vice presidency. Pause 2S. By understanding the personal journeys and achievements of these leaders, we gain a deeper appreciation of the vice presidency's potential to effect change and drive progress. Pause 2S. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of notable vice presidents. Stay tuned for more in-depth analyses and stories that bring the world of politics to life. Pause 2S. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more enlightening content. Pause 2S. In this section, we will compare the vice presidential election processes in India and the USA. Let's start with India. The vice president is elected by an electoral college of parliament members. The candidate must be a citizen of India, at least 35 years old, and qualified for the Rajya Sabha. In contrast, the USA follows a different procedure. The vice president is elected through an indirect electoral process. The candidate must be a natural-born citizen, at least 35 years old, and a resident for 14 years. Both countries emphasize experience and leadership qualities in their candidates. Stay tuned as we continue to delve deeper into the fascinating world of political structures and their evolution. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Pause 2S. Finally, we will look at the future of the vice presidency in both India and the USA. We will consider potential reforms, emerging challenges, and the evolving role of the vice president in the 21st century. Pause 2S. As the world continues to change rapidly, the vice presidency must adapt to new political, social, and technological landscapes. In India, discussions about increasing the vice president's influence in policymaking and national governance are gaining traction. Proposals for reforms include expanding the vice president's advisory role and enhancing their participation in international diplomacy. Pause 2S. Meanwhile, in the USA, the vice president's role has already evolved significantly, becoming a more active and visible part of the administration. Future reforms may focus on further integrating the vice president into legislative processes and decision-making, as well as addressing the balance of power between the president and vice president. Pause 2S. Emerging challenges such as global pandemics, cybersecurity threats, and climate change demand that vice presidents in both countries be prepared to take on more dynamic and multifaceted responsibilities. Their ability to act as crisis managers, policy innovators, and leaders in their own right will be crucial. Pause 2s. As we look to the future, the Vice Presidency's evolution will reflect broader changes in governance and political culture. By anticipating and adapting to these shifts, Vice Presidents can continue to play a pivotal role in shaping the direction of their nations. Pause 2s. The Vice Presidency remains a vital institution, capable of evolving to meet the demands of modern governance and providing stability and leadership in an ever-changing world. Pause 2s. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of the Vice Presidency. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Stay tuned for our next video.